Yeah, so if you guys want to pop on a playlist or just start to get settled, we're going to start today with our legs crossed seating again. So I'm sitting on my cushion just to elevate my hips a little bit higher than my knees. Just sitting up nice and tall. Today's sequence is going to focus on the heart chakra. So for this morning's practice, I have rose quartz and I also have jade crystals in front of me as well. So these crystals just help with our practice. They help enhance, balance, open the heart space and the heart chakra. So we're going to sit with our eyes closed. We're going to just rest our hands on our knees and we're going to move our shoulders up to our ears in one big circle and down the back. One more time. And then just allow them to rest down the back. Taking in some deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, lifting up through the chest. We're going to start dropping from our mind and into our body. Starting to notice the rhythm of our breath. Starting to notice the body and how it moves with the breath. Breathing in, feeling the expansion of the chest across the collarbones, broadening through the heart space. And exhale. If you're holding onto anything this morning, any thoughts, emotions, just allowing them to release on the out breath. Creating a spaciousness in the mind and in the body. Just checking in with how the body's feeling. Noticing any tension in the hips. Noticing your clothing on your skin, the temperature of the air that's around you. Tapping into all the feelings of the body. So the element of the heart chakra is air. And one of the ways in which we can access this energy is through the breath, through pranayama. Yesterday we worked on creating a fire within the belly with the Ujjayi breath. And today we're going to work on a 3-part belly breath. For the 3-part belly breath, we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to breathe into the body, into the chest cavity, all the way down to the rib cage and then into the belly. So as we breathe into the belly expands, the diaphragm pulls down, pulling the lungs, creating space for all the air to fill up the lungs and the chest. If you like to now, you can move your hands from your knees onto your chest and onto your belly so that you can feel the breath. As you breathe in, breathing in 3 parts, into the chest, the ribs, and the belly. And as you exhale, breathing out of the belly, drawing the belly button to the spine, out of the ribs, and finally out of the chest. Breathing in again. So you can break the breath up into 3 parts, into 3 counts. Continue breathing with the 3-part belly breath here. So like we use cat-cow, we use the body to help move the breath through the body. We're doing the same with the 3-part belly breath, pushing the belly button out, allowing space for the air to fill the lungs. And as we exhale, drawing the belly button to the spine. On your next in-breath, I want you to visualize a bright emerald light traveling in through the nose with the air, traveling down the throat, and it's going to rest in the heart space. Visualizing the light glowing brightly as you continue with the 3-part belly breath. With each breath you take now, visualize the light growing. Visualize the light spinning. This light containing the energy of your heart chakra. The purpose of the heart chakra is for love and compassion. And anahata translates to balance, balancing the lower chakras with the higher ones, balancing love for ourselves and love for others without judgment. 2 more breaths here. Visualizing the green light now spreading throughout the body. As it grows, it fills the torso, travels up the neck towards the head, and down the arms and legs all the way to the fingertips and toes. Feeling yourself being wrapped up in the green light, knowing that the light represents love and it's traveled to every part of your being. Placing our hands back onto our knees, gently roll the shoulders, big rolls. Starting to notice what you can feel in the heart space, in the upper back, in the neck. And then allowing them to rest down the back. We're going to shift our weight forward, coming onto our hands and knees. Into tabletop. Placing the wrists underneath the shoulders, shoulder width apart, knees underneath the hips, hip width apart. We're going to move with the breath here through cat-cow as we start our back bend sequence. Dropping the belly button down to the mat, lifting up through the crown of the head, arching through the back, breathing in. As we exhale, drawing the belly button to the spine, dropping the crown of the head down to the mat, tucking the tailbone. Inhale, dropping the belly. Feeling the spine as it starts to move, as it starts to stretch. Following the rhythm of your own breath. Bending a little deeper with each movement. Starting to explore cat-cow here. Moving side to side, shifting our weight forward or back. Moving through our shoulders and our hips. Three more breaths. And then coming back to a neutral spine. Dropping down to our elbows, gently rotating the wrists, keeping the hips above the knees. And then back in the opposite direction. And back to center. Placing the hands on the mat. We're going to look at the thumbs as we start to walk the hands away, dropping the chest, chin, or forehead down onto the mat. Here we're stretching through the shoulders, opening through the heart space in puppy pose. Taking a few breaths here, dropping a little deeper with each out breath. Feeling the stretch, noticing what your body's telling you. And then slowly walking the hands back, elbows underneath shoulders, tucking the toes. We're going to lift the hips up to the ceiling into dolphin, pressing the head forward here between the arms, sinking down into the heels, and then slowly lowering the knees back down to the mat. Coming up onto our hands, again tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog, sinking down into the heels. Stepping the right foot to the right hand, left foot to the left hand, into a forward fold. Just allow the upper body to hang here, resting forward, allowing the hamstrings to stretch. Keeping the knees slightly bent. Inhale, halfway lift. You can keep the fingertips on the mat if you can lift up with a straight back from here. Otherwise, you can place the hand on the shins to lift up with a straight back. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, slightly back. And exhale, folding forward, returning the hands back to the mat. Stepping the right foot back, left foot back into plank. Holding here. You have the option here to drop to the knees as we bend through the elbows to the bottom of the push-up. We're going to drop the chest down onto the mat, and then we're going to tuck our elbows underneath our shoulders, placing our hands on the ground or on the mat, lifting up through the chest and head into Sphinx. Taking a breath here. As you exhale, allowing the belly to drop down closer to the mat. Turning our head to the left and back to center and to the right and back to center. Taking a deep breath in, pushing into the palms, straightening through the arms, increasing the back bend, and exhale, lowering the elbows back down to the mat. Pressing into the palms, inhale, straightening through the arms. And exhale, lowering the elbows. One more time. Pressing into the palms, lift the elbows, drop the chest back down to the mat. Stacking the hands, lower the forehead onto the hands. Just taking a breath, allowing the back to settle. Lifting up through the head, taking the hands on the left and right side of the mat, lifting the elbows up towards the ceiling, coming up onto the fingertips, dropping the chin to the chest. On your next in-breath, pressing into the palms, opening up through the chest, lifting the chin up towards the ceiling, straightening through the arms. Exhale, lowering back down to the mat, chin to the chest. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, returning to the mat, chin to the chest. One more time. And exhale down. Tucking the hands beneath the shoulders, pressing into the palms, straightening through the arms into cobra. Feeling the back bend, taking a breath, turning the head to the left and back to center and to the right and back to center. Bending through the knees, sitting back onto the heels in child's pose, dropping the forehead down to the mat. Taking a breath here, allowing the spine to roll forward. Spreading the fingertips nice and wide. With each in-breath, feeling the energy of the heart grow. The emerald light, the circle of the energy. Imagine it spinning in the chest. On your next in-breath, lifting up to tabletop. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Sinking a little further into the heels. Stepping the left foot to the left hand. Right foot to the right hand into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, slightly back. And exhale, returning the hands down to the mat. Stepping the left foot back, stepping the right foot back into plank. Option to drop to the knees as we bend through the elbows to the bottom of the push-up. Dropping the chest down onto the mat. Taking the hands in front, stacking them, placing the head on the hands. Just taking a breath here on the mat. Allowing the body to melt, the tension to drop. On your next in-breath, lifting up through the head, taking our arms down by our sides, squeezing the shoulder blades together. You have the option to rest here, or you can lift the legs off the mat as well into locust. Arching through the back, lifting up, opening through the chest. Squeezing the posterior chain. And exhale, releasing, stacking the hands in front, placing the head on the hands. Taking a breath. And then lift the head, placing the hands beneath the shoulders, pressing into the palms, lifting up into cobra. Sit back onto the heels, drop the forehead down to the mat in child's pose. Visualizing that green light running through the body, shining from the fingertips and toes. Feeling the comfort of the light, the love. Feeling it surround you, fill you up. And then inhaling back to tabletop. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Step the right foot to the right hand, left foot to the left hand, into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, slightly back. And exhale, folding forward. Stepping the right foot back, left foot back into plank. Option to drop to the knees, bending through the elbows to the bottom of the push-up. And then dropping the chest onto the mat. Stacking the hands in front, dropping the head down onto the hands. On the next in-breath, lifting up through the head. Taking the arms down by your side, squeezing the shoulder blades together, opening through the chest. Once again, you can rest here, or you can lift the legs up into locust. And then the option to bend through the knees, taking the hands to the ankles or to the feet. Pressing the feet into the hands, you can lift up into bow. Squeezing the shoulder blades together and pushing the feet into the hands, opening through the chest. And releasing, letting go of the feet, stacking the hands in front, dropping the head onto the hands. Lifting up through the head, hands down by your sides, pressing into the palms, lifting up through the chest. And then exhale, child's pose. Start to notice the body each time you lift up into cobra. Noticing if the back bends are becoming easier as you feel the spine beginning to open and stretch. Noticing what feels good for your body. Recognizing its limits. The heart chakra teaches us to love all of us, the good and the bad. Taking a minute to feel the energy of the heart space before then lifting up to tabletop. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Stepping the left foot forward, stepping the right foot forward into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, slightly back. And exhale, folding forward. Placing the hands on the mat. Stepping the left foot back, right foot back into plank. Dropping to the knees. Bending through the elbows to the bottom of the push-up. And then pressing into the palms, straightening through the arms into cobra. Lifting up through the chest. Dropping the hips a little lower. Decompressing the front of the spine. And then exhale, child's pose. Slowly begin to walk the hands towards the knees, sitting back onto the heels. Lifting up through the chest. We're going to take our hands behind our body, interlacing the fingers and straightening through the arms. So squeezing the shoulder blades together, opening through the heart space. So you have the option to rest here. Our next pose is to pull the arms away from the lower back or away from the body. And then the third option is to shift forward, placing the forehead on or the top of the head onto the mat, lifting the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Grounding through our crown chakra, opening through our heart. Releasing the fingertips, placing them down beside the head, pressing into the palms, lifting up into tabletop. Walking the hands back towards our knees. We are going to come up to a kneeling position. So with this, you can either leave the tops of the feet pressed onto the mat or you can tuck the toes. We're going to roll the shoulders, big rolls opening through the chest as you squeeze them together as they roll back. One more and then allowing them to rest back. We're going to circle the left hand to the front of the room, up to the ceiling, and then to the back of the room, twisting through the spine and the hips, looking towards the left fingertips as it comes back down beside the body. And then the right side. Again on the left. Big circles. And the right. One more on each side. This time as we circle the left, we're going to place the hand on the lower back and then circle the right. And then bringing the torso back to center, squeezing the shoulder blades together, taking the elbows closer. We're going to gently push the hips forward as we drop the head back, opening up through the chest, through the throat. If you like, you can stay here with the head up neutral. And then the next option is to drop the hands from the lower back down onto the heels. Bending through the back, opening through the chest and the throat. Slowly placing the hands on the lower back and coming back up to a neutral position. Placing the tops of the feet onto the mat, sitting back onto the heels. We're going to slowly walk our hands out in front, resting back in child's pose. Just taking a breath here. Allowing the arms to hang from the shoulders. Breathing into the hips, into the spine. Visualizing that green light surrounding us. On the next in-breath, lifting up to tabletop, crossing the ankles and coming back to a seated position. Lifting up through the crown of the head, rolling the shoulders once more. Placing our hands over our heart space. We're going to take a moment to connect to our heart center. And then we're going to bring to mind a person or people that we love. Visualizing their faces. Seeing them with our mind's eye. Taking a minute here to send them love. And then coming back to ourselves, visualizing your face, visualizing yourself sitting on your mat. And then sending yourself love. Sending it to every inch of your body from the crown of the head all the way down to your toes. Thank you for joining me on the mat this morning. Namaste.